And as the saying goes, to truly understand someone, we should really walk a mile in their shoes. Now, the driving examiner might not be our nemesis, but if we really want to have the best possible chance of nailing that driving test, we should really learn to understand what the friggle diggle is this driving examiner marking me on. So today we are embarking on a crazy journey into the mind of what a driving examiner is actually thinking. Now, you've probably heard some of this before, but I've got to say it again. Driving examiners are not looking for perfection. They're not looking for Formula One drivers, and they're not expecting you to drive like you've been on the road for 10 years, because you haven't. They just want to see a safe and easy drive. And that's where lies the real challenge. What does a safe drive look like to the examiner, you ask? Allow me to enlighten you. This is all in my online driving course, by the way, along with everything else you need as a beginner learning to drive all the way through to your driving test. Have a look. It is in the link below and in the link above. If you have any questions about it, get them in the comments or join the Discord, even better. There's a whole separate channel there. Now, we all make mistakes on the road. That is an absolute given. You, me, mum, dad, Sally, Harry, you name it. In fact, it's so common that if we didn't make mistakes, there'd be no such thing as road rage. And there wouldn't be any crashes and everything would be rainbows and daisy chains, la 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 la. Anyway, the trick here is to differentiate between a serious fault, and we're talking like Godzilla level catastrophe, and a little diddy minor fault like a mischievous little gremlin. And the key to understanding your own driving mistakes is to get familiar with them. Now, here's the trick. You can use this whether you're learning to drive with another driving instructor, mum, dad, brother, sister, it doesn't matter. All we do is we have a risk scale in our head with a 1 over here, which is very small mistake, probably minor fault, and a 5 over here, which is pretty damn serious mistake, going to go down as a serious or dangerous fault. And if it is a 5, this is going to mean you need a little bit more practice before hitting those roads solo. And to give you a clearer picture, let's have a look at some examples. So visualize, you're driving down the road, you're about to turn left and you forget to check your left mirror. Now, there could potentially have been a cyclist coming down on our inside, but chances are pretty slim, level of risk pretty low in that situation, so it's probably going to go down 1 on the risk scale. But definitely not something we want to keep doing. So in this case, if you are on your driving test, you'd likely get a minor fault, also known as a driving fault. Instead now, imagine we're parked up on the side of the road and we're about to drive away and we're chatting to our mate and we don't check the blind spot. Now on this occasion, luckily there was absolutely nothing there, so there was no effect on anyone, but the level of risk of a car being there is a lot higher, and the effect of actually pulling out on that car or cyclist or whatever, again, is very high as well. So now we're going to be a bit higher on the risk scale, possibly a 3 or a 4. Now, in this sort of situation, the examiner may very well give you the benefit of the doubt on the first try, but they're now going to be watching hotly to see if you check your blind spot, and they're going to be pulling you over repeatedly to make sure that you do. I've had a student that was pulled over 8 times for not checking their blind spot, so it's well worth making sure you do. And they did pass, by the way. Now for this next one, visualize you're approaching a crossroads and there's a stop sign, and you nice and slowly go through the stop sign, you check both ways, it's nice and clear, so you carry on. Well, in this situation, it's a stop sign, and unfortunately the law says we must stop, and because we didn't stop, that's a high risk situation and it's against the law. So this would go down as a 4 or a 5 and would most definitely be a serious fault. Anything, in fact, that is illegal is going to automatically go in the 4 or 5 on the category and automatically be a serious fault. That includes not stopping at zebra crossings when someone's waiting, going through a red light, breaking speed limits, normally by more than 5 or 6 miles per hour, and all those other nitty-gritty laws. And if you're wondering why I use this example, I recently had a student from Canada. Sorry, Mike, if you're watching. I don't know if you know, but in Canada, they don't really do roundabouts. They more just do stop signs and crossroads. So Mike could drive, he's got his license in Canada, but he lives in the UK, so he needed to redo his license in the UK. So anytime we'd go past a stop sign in the UK, Mike would go, oh, there we go, there's my friend. And he used to absolutely hate roundabouts. That was the biggest issue that we were trying to get used to. And then Mike went into this driving test, and again, on his driving test, he went through 1 stop sign with the examiner, and he said, oh, look, there's my friend. I'm used to these, I can do these. And then Michael, bless him, didn't stop at the stop sign. Instead, he rolled through and failed his driving test. That was a Godzilla moment. Very sad for all parties involved. Luckily, Mike has since passed his test, but point being, don't roll through the stop sign. Now, if you learn to actually categorize your own faults like an examiner would, it's going to give you a far higher chance of reducing them, making yourself safer, and understanding when you're actually test ready and how the examiner is going to mark you on your driving test. Now, if you want me to assess any of your driving faults, or you've got any queries about driving faults, get them in the comments below, let me know. Or we can join the Discord and you can have a chat with me there, and we can have a look at them as much as you like and see where things might be going wrong or where you'd like to improve. Now, to make this process even easier for you, I've made myself a little cheat sheet. Now, you can either draw this yourself or you can download a free black and white version on my website, joshudrivinginstructor.com, or you can get the pretty coloured version as part of my online driving course, along with everything else on there as well. So the way I would use this is to first of all decide on the level of danger of the fault. For instance, if you hit a curb in one particular situation, there is nobody about at all, would that be very high danger or very low? These can change from situation to situation, so it really depends individually on each fault. Once you've decided on the level of danger, level of risk of the situation, then you're looking at how likely is it to actually happen? How likely is it that if you hit that curb, someone's going to be right there at that particular time? Is it likely? Is it a maybe? Or is it unlikely? Once you've decided on that, you can then slot that fault into the box, and that's going to show you, is it going to be an advisory? Is it going to be a driving fault, serious fault, or is it going to go down as possibly a dangerous fault? Have you got any funny moments that you'd like to share from your driving experience? Any funny mistakes that you made that you'd like to share? Let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to hear about them. Now, please remember, this sheet is not a challenge to try and find mistakes that don't fit into the categories, nor is it gospel. It's just a tool to help you speed up the process of learning to drive and be the best and safest driver you can be. Should you have any questions or any doubts or queries or anything at all, get them in the comments. I'll get back to you ASAP. And if you want to see more details about this video, have a look at my blog, drivingtestexpert.com/You're a No, that's a joke. And remember, driving is not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about doing it safely and responsibly. So my final bonus tip is, remember, on your driving test, the examiner doesn't care if you go the wrong way. And a lot of people forget that it's okay to speak to the examiner and ask questions. You can do that. And I don't mean sign language. If the examiner asks you to go straight on and you don't hear, you can say, "Excuse me, Mr. Examiner, did you say go straight on?" And they'll say, "Yes. Yes, I did." And if you go the wrong way, it's okay to say, "I've gone the wrong way, can you redirect?" And they'll say, "Yes, that's no problem." What they won't do is give you a fault of any kind. If, however, you try and go the right way in the wrong lane, bad day. We've got a Godzilla event on our hands. And just to wrap up this video on what the examiner's actually thinking and how they're going to mark us on the driving test, I hope this has been insightful and helped you one step closer towards passing your driving test. It's helped a lot of my students, so use this correctly. It's going to help you understand what mistakes you're making, how to avoid them, and how the examiner's actually going to mark you on them. Remember, everyone makes mistakes. We are all on the same road of life, and we're all just trying to pass the test. So don't worry if you're still making them, just keep on improving. And if you see me on the road of life, make sure you give me a wave. That is everything for today. If you want some more tips on passing your driving test, have a look at my other video, How to Impress the Examiner, above, and I will see you all soon. Don't forget to wave if you see me. Bye!